Hey, I'm Alan Gould, and my wife Ellen Quinlan, who's not here today because she's up running our rescue facilities in New Hampshire. We're here at Darbster Restaurant. We're a vegan restaurant here in West Palm Beach, and we support Darbster Foundation, Darbster Rescue, which rescues animals here, dogs and cats, from South Florida, and we bring them up to our facilities that we run in New Hampshire, where we can find them homes. And it's predominantly pit bulls, square-headed dogs as we like to call them, and street cats and kittens, because there's just a multitude of them here in Palm Beach County that need to find homes, and that's what we do. Well, Ellen was a vegetarian since she was 12 years old. She introduced me to it in 2002. And since then, we have been advocates of a vegan lifestyle. So we don't buy leather shoes. We live, truly animal cruelty free. The restaurant is an outcropping of that for us. We used to have a place we would go eat in Fort Lauderdale, and that restaurant was sort of our place to go out to before local restaurants had vegan options. So in Fort Lauderdale, Nancy Alexander had a restaurant called Sublime, and we went there frequently, but it was an hour drive, and we loved our time there. It was a nice way for us to go out. The menu was 100% vegan, well-made, sort of an upscale place, and we loved it, but it was a long way for us to go from our home. In our family, I'm sort of the chef and used to cook at home, and our social circle here in West Palm Beach revolved around a spin studio called Velocity at the time. So we would go there and ride, and those became our friends. So it was a healthy atmosphere, but none of them were vegan, so other than maybe French fries, which are of course vegan, but we would cook for them. We would have dinner parties, and I would cook, using Gardein and other, plant-based meat products. And this is going, back to 2003, 2004. And it just became sort of a natural outcropping for us to build out a restaurant. And we thankfully had the funds to invest in the place and build it out. And we figured we'll hire the right people, we'll do what we want to do and introduce people to a plant-based menu. And if it doesn't work, well, we still have the investment in the property and we'll do something else. And here we are 11 years later, and it's doing great. So back in 2002, we were both vegetarian, and we realized that milk and dairy products were not a good thing. We adopted a vegan lifestyle here because it was easy for us to do, being the two of us. And it was a result also of a PETA weekend that we did, where we spent a couple days in Norfolk with Ingrid and her team. And it really opened our eyes to the fuller extent of the ethics and the animal cruelty side is real and significant and largely hidden from the public. People won't eat their cat, but they'll eat a chicken and they'll eat a pig. And we met so many fantastic animals up at Farm Sanctuary. So through Ellen's introduction, I adopted a vegan lifestyle, and that's what led us to where we are today with Darbster Foundation, Darbster Rescue, and of course the Darbster Restaurant. Going vegan for me personally created some skepticism amongst my friends and family prior to going vegan. They were suspicious. Why are you doing this? Are you really committed? And I would answer them honestly and truly saying, I don't need to see the exploitive, farm animal cruelty cases anymore. I've seen enough of it. It made sense to me. I understand milk cows, veal, how all of that is just awful cruelty and what they do with chickens. So it was easy for me to go vegan. I didn't have to answer to anybody else. I could choose to do that myself and not offend anybody. And I don't try to convince anybody else to be, or adopt my lifestyle. I do what I do because I do it for me. And it makes me feel good. And health-wise, yeah, it's great. I mean, I can tell you doctor's reports and all that stuff, but I'm not going to go into that. But I'm telling you, it's not been a negative from a health perspective. I think my family and friends have since, over these many years, realized I'm not a nut. I think they understand that Ellen introduced me to a lifestyle that makes a lot of sense. And I hope and I believe that several of my friends and family have cut back on their consumption of animal products and become aware. Factory farming of animals, the antibiotics, there's so many things that you can look to besides just your own personal health as far as the planet and greenhouse gases and all of the cruelty just destroys our planet. Being introduced to the community of people that are in the animal ethics community has been eye-opening. There's just so many great people that I never would have known about had I not been involved. And it's very rewarding to see that the world is moving to more and more of a plant-based world. Products like Impossible and Beyond are great. I mean, we don't serve them here at the restaurant because we like to make our own food from scratch. But those are great trends to see where the public is moving. I think it matters to the planet. I think it matters to the poor animals that are being slaughtered. You can serve a lot more food if you just take what's grown in the earth and give it to the people as food, as opposed to processing it through an animal and eating the animal. It kind of makes no sense if you think about it, but it's the way we're raised since the 40s. And if we can change a few people's minds, yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important for us to communicate that to people that, hey, it's not such a weird, oddity. But we're not evangelical about it. If people come here and enjoy a meal, great. If it affects them a little bit, okay. Well, I'm not an evangelical about veganism, but having the restaurant, we obviously want to introduce people to good food, a good night out, having fun. We do birthday parties and so forth here. They've had a plant-based meal and it was satisfying and enjoyable. It matters to us that people are exposed to a plant-based diet, plant-based meal. You can have it at a restaurant, you can prepare it at home, substitute a few ingredients, and voila, your food is vegan. What we try to do here is show people that you don't need that protein in the middle that's from an animal. So our goal is to have a plant-based meal that gives you the same satisfaction, but you're not eating some dead animal. We hope that that becomes important to our guests so that they will carry that into their own lifestyle. Hey, maybe I'm not going to eat so many hamburgers. I'm not going to have so many meat-based, animal-based meals. I'm going to substitute a few plant-based meals in there. In that respect, what we're doing is we're informing people and, maybe slightly changing people's behavior. It's funny, when we first did our marketing materials for the restaurant, you probably want to know why it's called Darbster. We had a dog named Darby. She was a rescue that Ellen had adopted. And we had the URL Darby and Darbster. And so when we bought the property here and decided to build the restaurant, we said, well, let's call it Darbster because we got Darbster.com. which was great because we didn't have to use a name like vegetarian kitchen or vegan kitchen or whatever terms were available. Then it was Darbster. So people was like, well, it's a restaurant. What does that mean? You know, why do we call it Darbster? And we didn't use the term vegan originally in our materials. We said vegetarian because it was softer and it didn't alienate people as vegan did back in 2009. Of course, now everything uses the term plant-based and it's widely accepted and we don't shy away from it at all. But yeah, early on we were a vegetarian restaurant. Didn't really have any challenges. It was, I think people have challenges where their family doesn't accept their personal choice. So, you know, if your family is expecting meatloaf on the table and you want to prepare tempeh, it's going to be a little bit of an uphill climb. I didn't have any of that because Ellen and I were both in the same page. So we were having fun concocting menus for the restaurant or dishes for the restaurant and sampling them at home because we were both living this plant-based dietary plan. We originally thought we'd have challenges appealing to a local crowd. We knew that a vegan restaurant was going to attract the transient crowd, you know, people who use Happy Cow and other apps to find a vegan restaurant. But it kind of turned the other way. It didn't become a challenge. What happened was people said, hey, this is a fun place to go. It's got a great atmosphere. It's table service. And it just happens to be vegan. And there was no stigma attached to it. And we've been told by restaurant professionals that, you know, people will travel a small amount, you know, 2 miles, 3 miles to their local eatery. But when you're a specialty restaurant as we are, you get 20 miles. And we have people that come here from Boca. We have a couple that were here last night from Miami. They'll drive an hour to come for a good vegan meal because they live a plant-based lifestyle. No, we don't have any regrets. Ellen and I come here every night that it's open that we're in town. And we bring our pit bull with us because we do love to show off. We have 5 dogs that live at our house. They're all rescues. They're large dogs, squareheads as we call them. And Poppy's our brindle pit bull, and she's here every night with us. Actually sits in a chair outside on the patio. I grew up a child of the late 50s. My mom prepared wonderful meals, but they were casseroles and, you know, usually had ground beef or tuna or something in it. And never did I become exposed to plant-based, animal cruelty, any of that kind of stuff. I just grew up in a world that was not ever raised. And when Ellen and I came here and bought our first house in 2003, and I was introduced to, you know, more and more of a vegetarian, vegan lifestyle, it just became apparent. It was like an easy switch. No, no. It wasn't conscious, you know. When we moved here to South Florida, I was not the epitome of health. I mean, I was healthy, but not healthy. And I tried to find a doctor just, you know, for checkups, you know, just to have a doctor. So I met Dr. Schwartz at Velocity, at the cycling studio. And he was an oncologist. And I said, I can't find it. He says, I'll be your doctor. So I went to him, and he was fascinated by the fact that Ellen and I were vegan, and he's a hematologist as well. So he would do blood work and suggest that all of the levels, if you will, were normal. So vitamin B, vitamin D, all the things that you'd think, oh, well, you need to have a steak or something. And cholesterol was non-existent, even though my father had a history of high cholesterol. So it was amazing to connect with Dr. Schwartz and to see him. I used to go to, well, I still go, but every 4 months and do complete blood work just to see if that was going to be an issue. And I can assure you, for me personally at least, it's not. I think if you want to become more aware of the benefits of a plant-based diet, you need to see what is your driving force. Is it environmental? Is it animal ethics? Is it your personal health? Or is it all of the above? Because the reality is, adopting a plant-based diet is going to benefit all three of those elements. And all you have to do is spend a little time looking at whatever research materials you trust. And I think I say that because today people don't trust a lot of things that are out there. But if you find something you trust and you read it, it's probably true. And there's a lot of groups that can help you find those. So there's a lot of misnomers about, is a plant-based diet good for you? And I'm no expert. I'm not going to preach anything to anybody. But again, I think do the research and look towards examples of people who find the nutrition they need without eating animals, because I think it's pretty widespread. But me? No, it's easy to not even think about that. I can't even think of going there. I'm the wrong guy to ask. No, it's not something that was ever going to happen. Well, that wouldn't be my doctor, because that's just not, it's nonsensical. Well, of course, I'm partial to our menu here, but in the morning it's usually fruit. It's cantaloupe and watermelon. I don't have a big breakfast. We do have the new product from Just Egg. It's an egg substitute, so we do make some omelets once in a while, put veggies in them, which is kind of our new thing. Well, dinner we're here, so it's it's what's left. It's all of the good stuff that we enjoy here, and our chefs prepare the food in a remarkable way. Last night was French onion soup. Our number one top meal here is what we call our black and blue burger, which is a house-made hamburger patty, which is from grains, not beans. Our raw side this week, we're running a special. We make our own cheese plate that has a pimento cheese in it, but it's all made from nuts. Our desserts are phenomenal. We do what's called our hummingbird cake. It's one of those things we present in the dining room. It's very spectacular. It's a 4-layered cake that stands about half a foot tall, and they walk it out, and it's really nice for birthdays and special occasions. We have our raw nachos, which is a nacho plate, but the chips are made in a dehydrator. The lasagna we're making this time of the year uses a house-made seitan sausage, so it's kind of got a meat-like flavor or texture to it. It's got a lot of vegetables. It's the traditional lasagna. In the summertime, we switch it over and we do a purely vegetable lasagna. We eliminate the seitan, so it doesn't have that meat component to it. A good friend of mine named Carlos owned his own restaurant here in West Palm Beach for years, and he now works for Margaritaville. He's their executive chef. And he's a good friend, and he came here, and I said, Carlos, can you help us come up with a couple dishes? And he's not vegan. He's Italian, but he's close to vegan. And he said, I know, the mushroom barley risotto would be a great dish for you. So he created our mushroom barley risotto. It's been a phenomenal dish for us, and we're grateful to have his expertise in the kitchen when we need him. We actually do a twist on a chicken parmesan. It's my wife's favorite go-to meal here. So it's a pasta, hearty, sort of a chicken breast-like thing, and Parmesan cheese made from cashews. It's really a nice dish. It's one of our popular plated dishes too. Ellen created or coined the term food we can all live with as a way to describe veganism here at Darbster. And so it's been a tagline on all of our marketing materials, and anywhere we can print something that we put that on there, because I think it kind of says who we are. Food we can all live with. Well, I think we're getting there. I think we're on our way to a vegan world. If you look at the percentages of consumption of, the really abusive products is going down, whether it's fur, whether it's beef, the mistreatment of chickens, it's all going in the right direction. It may not go as fast as we'd like it to go, but it's heading there. We started the restaurant as a way to fund local animal rescue issues that we wanted to work with. So Ellen and I don't take any income at all from the restaurant. The profits and even more than the profits from the restaurant go to Darbster Foundation, which is now known as Darbster Rescue. We work with fosters and local shelters, and we pick up dogs and cats and kittens off the streets here in Palm Beach County and a little bit in Broward, and we're expanding a little bit more now. And we transport them to 2 shelters that we built and operate in New Hampshire. And those animals are then adopted out to people up there. And people say, well, why New Hampshire? Well, New England has a very low shelter rate. There's responsible owners. If you want to adopt a dog or a cat, there's none up there. So by bringing them up from here, where they're going to be euthanized for space, clears out the shelters here and gives us the ability to find them homes, or give them the ability to find homes in New Hampshire and surrounding New England. So to date, we've rescued 11,000 animals. Every Saturday morning, we ship a load up. They're vetted. Health certificates are issued by vets. They're all spayed or neutered. And so they're ready to go to good homes up in New Hampshire. So that's what Darbster Restaurant really is a conduit for Darbster Foundation. Now, it takes a lot of money. I mean, our budget for Darbster Rescue is $1 million a year. And the restaurant doesn't obviously do that. So we have a fundraiser on Palm Beach called the Fur Ball that we do every year, and we get great support. And we have support of a lot of public and private foundations that also help us fund what we do. And so that's what Darbster's about. It's about rescuing these poor animals that are dumped on the streets. And I'd encourage you to look at darbster.com and look at the foundation and the rescue to see the good work that my wife, Ellen, the executive director, does. I mean, that's pretty much why this is here. I mean, I want to make sure the foundation is in there because that's why we did this. We built the restaurant not for profit to us. Yeah. We built it to fund Darbster Foundation. We worry about people saying, well, a portion of the profits or all of the profits. Well, what if you don't have any profits? So what we do is on the menu, 50 cents on every item we sell goes to the foundation, regardless of whether there's profits or not. So if you buy a cup of coffee, 50 cents is donated to the foundation from Darbster Restaurant. And then any profits beyond that go 100% to the foundation.